Okay guys, so in today's video we're going to be looking at the pull up on the right and reverse manoeuvre. Okay, so this is obviously part of the new driving test, one of the new manoeuvres. Driving test aside, this is also a really good practical skill that you can take with you in the rest of your driving career. So we're going to be looking at this today. I'm going to talk you through it. I'm going to try and break it down into 3 elements as well. So the first element is driving along and moving over to the other side of the road to stop. Section 2, the reverse. Section 3, rejoining the traffic on the left. So this is very typical of a sort of road that they'd use on test. Also very typical of somewhere you might want to park on either side of the road. Let's get this underway. Objective is obviously pulling up on the right. Now we've got to take into account any bus stops, any parking restrictions, any junctions. We don't want it to be near anything like that at all. So I'm going to aim to pull up on the right, just along here, just in between these couple of cars. Now I'm going to look ahead, check the rear view mirror, check the right mirror, and I'm going to pull over. Nice and smooth. I'm not going to worry about any driveways at this stage. Okay, make the car safe, cancel the indicator, and we've made it over to this side of the road. As you can see, no parking restrictions on this side, so we're perfectly within our rights to park here. I might want to visit somebody here. So this is a very, very common thing to do in today's driving. Typically you could be on the high street. Let's say you spot a parking space on the right hand side of the road and you might want to get into it. You need to know how to get across there, how to have the confidence to get over the other side of the road to get into that space. Now once we're over here, let's pretend we've parked, we've gone off to do some shopping or whatever. You come back to your car and there's a transit van right in front of us, so we can't see anything. Now this is where the reverse element comes in. So in order for us to see to move out to the left again, we need to reverse back about a couple of car lengths. Now what some people do in this section is to drop the right door mirror so you can see the curb. Now if that works for you, feel free. The driver should use the tools they've got with them, in this case the door mirrors. Why not? Pop the car in reverse, release the handbrake. We're not going to roll anywhere, I know we're on flat ground here. Now before we go anywhere, I'm going to make sure there's nobody around us. Check both the blind spots, nice and safe. Now this reverse needs to be under full control with good observations throughout. There's no point just staring in this door mirror to see where the curb is. Keep your observations high. Old man's walking pace is good as a reverse. Keep checking around, checking for cars coming off driveways. Now as you can see ahead, look, there's an oncoming white van, so I'm going to pause. I don't want to be moving backwards if there's somebody quite near us moving backwards as well. It's free again, so I'm going to carry on a little bit further. Car's coming up again, so I'm going to pause again. It's important to note at this stage that this manoeuvre is not a parking exercise, it's a reversing exercise. On the new driving test sheet it's marked under section 4, the reverse right, which used to be the reverse right around the corner. It's now this manoeuvre. The first 2 elements they're looking at is your control and your observations. In third place, which isn't listed on the test sheet, is the accuracy element. So how near you are to the curb, are you right out in the road, are you going to reverse out into the road or into the curb on the reverse section. Now you might not have noticed, but I'm keeping the steering wheel as straight as possible because my position here by the curb is very good. if I was to reverse back and move the steering wheel even that much, the back of the car is going to go out into the road dangerously, which is not what you want at all. So by keeping it straight or keeping it very slightly towards the curb, you remain tight with the curb. Half a turn like this, we're just going to go into the curb or out into the road. So keep your wheel straight as possible. Focus on the reverse. Make sure your observations are good. Let's carry on. I'm going to check around again. Pausing again for this car. Let's carry on. Notice how the speed I'm doing this, very, very slowly under control. So that is about 2 car lengths, give or take. I'm going to pause there. So in reality, the transit van I mentioned earlier, we might be far enough away from it now so that we can see at an angle from the driver's point of view to get out back onto the road on the left. So secure the car, and let's just briefly talk about moving out to the left again to rejoin the traffic on the left. This road in particular, it's not a main road, it's an A road. It's slightly busy. It's not overly busy like a high street, but it's very typical of a road that you might want to park on, and certainly one that they'd use on a driving test as well. Okay, so select first gear. Now your observations here, it's pretty much common sense. I'm going to look ahead, I'm going to look in my rear view mirror, I'm going to check the door mirror on the left, and over my left blind spot to make sure there's nobody coming off these driveways on the left there. If I'm happy with all 3 of those elements, we can move off. Now we've got a bus coming up behind. Let's wait for the bus. I'm looking ahead. Check the rear view mirror. I'm going to pop the signal on because it's quite a busy road. Blind spot check as we move out. Safely negotiating onto the left hand side of the road. Like I said earlier, it's important to know this is a reversing exercise, not a parking exercise. To end this, I'm just going to take this next road on the left. If you have any questions about this manoeuvre, anything you need to know at all, feel free to pop a comment in the section below the video. Thanks very much. Hope you found it useful.